Hello everyone, welcome to Basic Japanese with Houghton and Mackay. And this week we're going to be looking at slightly more advanced sentences with the things that we did previously, that being basic verb sentences, the particles, if you remember the ni, wa, de, and so on. And also this week we're going to be introducing, or reintroducing rather, how to tell the time using those sentences in verb situations. There's one more additional thing that we're going to be looking at, and that's how to express want within verbs. So let me just go over to the actual board area and I'll see you there in a moment. Hello everyone. So we're going to be looking at these simple ideas and drawing them all together. Let me just check I can actually hear myself on this broadcast. Hold the line a moment. There we go. Yeah, so my apologies, because the other week I did a broadcast and I could not hear anything. I didn't realise that I'd actually turned off my mic. So the lesson, if you recall looking back, as you know, we are broadcasting on YouTube and Facebook simultaneously. So if you want to look back on the previous videos, by all means do so. I'm moving quite quickly through these learning opportunities and we are adding to it quite fastly. Now, it may seem, and I say this for all of the years that I've been teaching Japanese, it may seem that it's a little bit too much, but I promise if you just stay with it in the first few sessions, in the first few lessons and so on, you will be able to suddenly accelerate and find that everything comes together. That's when your enthusiasm will go very quick indeed. And you'll start to be able to formulate sentences with Japanese people, hopefully, between yourselves and with family and friends. It's exciting when you can do that. So what have we done so far? For those that haven't been following the first few sessions, we did basic forms of what we call the des form, silent U there, des form, which means is. I won't recap literally everything right now. That means is. We did the 4 tenses of those. In the lesson after that, we looked at the basic verb forms. So I call it, and again, it's a silent U, I call it the mass form, M-A-S-U. So mass. And as you know, or hopefully know, mashita, masen, and masen deshita, and so on and so on. They are the forms to go with the verbs. And at the beginning, you have the verb stem. So tabemasu, tabemasu. You can sound the U. Some people do. Some people don't. Females tend to sound the U out more than gentlemen, more than the guys. So up to you. Mashita, masen deshita, sen. This isn't learning it right now. It's just a very quick recap on what we've done so far. And then in the third lesson, this is the 4th lesson, we had a look at telling the time in Japanese. So let's recap this one slightly more. Ima, now. The kanji for that is those 3 strokes, top to bottom, left to right when you're writing Japanese characters. I will always, and this applies to everybody, be only as good in another language as you are in your own. I don't write very well in English, to be quite honest. I'm quite scruffy, so my kanji is. Um, as long as it's readable, try and perfect it. Do lots and lots of different examples on a paper. Do it again and again. I don't know which one is the best one. Probably the first. It gets scruffy. That's too far away. They need to be centered as well, but you get the idea. Everyone's handwriting is different. If you're learning kanji, the Japanese script writing properly, make sure that you understand exactly the positioning of the strokes and how it all works and so on. It's quite intricate. There are this many characters, standardized characters in Japanese syllabary for kanji, 1,945. Not everybody knows them by the time they're, I don't know, 15 or so, but they know an awful lot, well over 1,000. School is very important in Japan because you're learning all of those all the time. We have 24. The combinations are difficult for foreign speakers learning English. So it's just as difficult depending on who you are. Try and learn them anyway. I mean, you don't have to learn all of those, but it's nice to include a few and understand it. Have some respect for the language and understand all of these additional elements that are in play. If you do go for it, though, you have to really get into it and learn how they work. Anyway, back to the style we're using is called Romaji. It's a phonetic system of Japanese. Always start with that, though. This is what we're doing here. This week, then, is about introducing how to tell the time and how to say days of the week, the natural follow-on from telling the time. Now, at the end of British English days of the week, we have the word day. So I'm going to write them here. That one I'll write here because there's not enough space. So Monday is, whoops, I'm dropping things here. Monday is getsu. I will say the endings in a moment. Getsu, ha, sui, moku, kin, do, and nichi. Nichi. Getsu, ha, sui, moku, kin, do, nichi. We don't say those in that way. There's an ending to them. If you want, just write those down really quick. They are the days of the week. Ha, sui, S-U-I-K-I-N. Remember your sounds. Let's change our pen now. Remember your sounds. Every time there is a syllable ending in Japanese, there's a vowel. If you can get your vowel sounds correct, your entire Japanese will sound reasonable and correct. Getsu, ha, sui, sui, sui. Moku, kin, do, nichi, nichi. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Not so pronounced. 3. Kin. That's on its own. Very rare that you see consonants on their own, in fact. Moku. Oku. Oku. Moku. 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 There we go. Getsu. T-S-U. You're fighting over the T and the S there. Just almost, but you do them together. There we go. Now, the ending to these words, I'm going on quite a bit. Hopefully you've written them by now. Are, or is rather, it's the same ending. So you get a real easy win here. The same ending. Monday would therefore be, oops, let's not make any errors. Monday would therefore be, here is your ending. Getsu yobi. Yobi equals day. exactly the same as we have in English. Monday, Tuesday, yorby, 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 yorby. 7 of those. Hayorby, hayorby. Refer to your notes if you've written them down. What's Wednesday? Yes, yes, yes. Suiyorby. Sunday's Nichiyorby. There we go. That's the days of the week. Fairly basic. The only hard bit is, which is very easy, remembering this word and remembering the 7 bits or the stems or the front. Very, very basic. So what did we say, question to the audience, what did we say last time when we're using a particle that marks time? How do we mark time? And it's the same particle that applies to days of the week as it does with marking time. For example, on Tuesday at 5 in, oops, I'm doing it backwards, in July. The particle that applies to all of those words, this is where Japanese is actually harder than English, is, easier than English, sorry, is ni. That is a marker. That has a grammatical function to mark the time or the day of the week. And it means all of those 3 things depending on what you're doing. You're saying at 5, if you remember, go, ji, at 5. Read backwards. At 5, goji ni. What about it? Something has to happen now, or there has to be some information to do with that. What else do we have? You can mark days of the week and apply these in the same way. Let's have moku. Remember what moku is? Moku, yobi. What do we put next? We mark it with the time particle. That's a particle. They're called particles. Moku yobi ni. What about it? What about Thursday? On Thursday, sorry. Suddenly that means on when it's a day of the week. So that's brilliant. We get a free offer there. 3-for-1 offer. We can use it with pretty much anything. Let's extend the sentences then and draw those in. We need a subject. If you remember the subject marker, we are going to draw or write this one now. This one equals wa. That is what you mark thing to the left. Watashi wa. As for me, watashi wa. Let's get rid of this. You're starting to read Japanese now. Watashi wa, what about it? Yoyobi ni. As for me, on Saturday, what about it? Now there has to be an action or some information. Let's make something up. This means there's a long sound, by the way. Otherwise, I can just do 2. Same thing. So if you see me doing either, don't panic, it's the same thing. The thing that is marked, the place that is marked when we are going to a direction also takes ni. And that means 2. That has so many uses. If you can get past the ni conundrum or the ni puzzle, you are going to be able to open up a lot of language, believe me. Watashi wa doyobi ni Tokyo ni. What do we do to Tokyo? We go. Ikimasu. Mas means will. Mashita did. Masen won't. Masen deshita did not. I always start with the subject. I. Watashi wa. Everyone's waiting. What about you? Okay. We'll go to Tokyo on Saturday. Remember what I said last time? If you read backwards with simple sentences and it turns into perfect English, you know that your Japanese is right. Watashi wa doyobi ni Tokyo ni ikimasu. Perfect. There's your sentence. Let's swap it up a little bit. Let's change this. And as I'm rubbing this out, have a think about what I can put here in this space. If I put anatta, what can I put here? Turn it into a question. Now I'm asking somebody, instead of this question mark, I can actually put cat. It's the same thing as a question mark. Now I'm asking anatta, which means you. Anata wa doyobi ni Tokyo ni ikimasu ka? Are you going to Tokyo on Saturday? Person can then say, "Hai, Tokyo ni ikimasu." And then I can say, "Nanji ni ikimasu ka?" What time are you going? Nanji ni, what hour? Ni, at what time? Ni, I can end with ni with a slight intonation, meaning it has an implied question, therefore. There we go. That's a basic sentence. Let's do a few more. And what I would like you to do to really learn is two things. Play over these tapes again and again. Use the same structures, but swap them around. Try different cognitions of the language. It's interesting to see how it forms. The second thing is pick up your own nouns and verbs, and then you're building. You're really starting to build. It's good. So let's have another example. I'm going to make it slightly more advanced now. Watashi, if you remember, we said not equals apostrophe s. My, or persons, whoever the subject is. Watashi no tomodachi wa, friend, new word for you, tomodachi. That highlights very well how you break down your syllables. You know an end of a syllable because there's a vowel attached. Tomodachi, tomodachi, da 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 da. Nice rhythm. Tomodachi, tomodachi. Watashi no tomodachi wa. Watashi no tomodachi wa. What about your friend? Osaka. Double O or one of those. Let's shorten it. Same thing. Ni ikimasen. Now we've changed our verb tense. Which one is that? See if you can recall. 3, 2, 1. See if you can beat me to it. Ikimasen is will not do the verb. Iki is go. Ikimasen will not go. Who is it that's not going? Watashi no tomodachi, my friend, will not go to Osaka. Think there about what we can put in the middle. Let's change it to green. Let's have a day of the week. Mark it with ni. Now, when the sentence is long and there's a connotation or understanding of what's going on that's very firm, and you did forget that, you still have enough to go on whereby people can understand pretty much what's going on. But try not to forget these particles. There's a number in here. We've got 3 in here, haven't we? 1, 2, 3, 4. In fact, 1, 2, 3, 4. And each one, why I've separated, not just because the board is this small, each part up. Watashi no, my, tomodachi wa. As for my friend, on Sunday, and each time you end with a particle, the listener or reader is saying, okay, what about it? And then you have to quantify the sentence. Will not go to Osaka. And that's why we have these. Because if you roll on without those, you're going on with extra information and you're starting to lose the person. So make sure you don't forget those. Watashi no tomodachi wa nichiyoubi ni Osaka ni ikimasen. I will not, my friend will not go to Osaka on Sunday. Okay, let me give you 10 seconds if you want to write that down as what I call a safety island. If you have a pre-made sentence to play with, and then just swap bits around, slowly you can do it in your head. and it becomes automatic. That's the best way to do it. Start to swap out different words. You can say anata no tomodachi, so your friend just there. You can actually put a person's name in here. Tanaka-san, Tanaka. Remember to put san in there because it's polite. Tanaka-san no tomodachi wa. You can put people's titles in there. Lots you can do. Lots and lots you can do already. Homework, learn mother and father. Otou-san, double O. Otou-san, father. Okaa-san, mother. Nichiyobu ni Osaka ni ikimasen. You can swap that round for any place in the world. You can have different places of specific places. For example, gakko or school. So let's have a school in there. That one's quite difficult because you've got a double consonant. You do a very small pause. Gakko, gakko, and there's a long sound on it as well. Tanaka-san no otou-san wa nichiyobu ni gakko ni ikimasen. Most people don't, but in Japan they do have special schools out of hours if you want to learn about culture as well. So there's an example of where we're at. Now we can add times as well. This is slightly odd, maybe, to the Western mind. When you have a time in a day, the day owns the time. So let's just get rid of everything else and have a look at how that works. We're going to keep our memory of what we just said. That's one of the key elements of learning a language. You have to have a jolly good memory as well. So if I wanted to say 10 o'clock on Sunday, Nichiyobi no, that's apostrophe S, remember, or a meaning that has ownership, this thing here that's after this. Nichiyobi no juji. Oops, not juju, juji. Let's get rid of that. Put an I. Juji ni. And then you qualify the sentence. Nichiyo, I forgot an I. My apologies. Nichiyobi no juji ni. So you're giving the 10 o'clock possession, sorry, you're giving the Sunday possession of the 10 o'clock. So you can say doyobi no hachiji, 8 o'clock of Saturday, for example. And that's how that works. That's how you say a day and a time. Very basic, but just remember that. It's, as I said, it's slightly unusual for the Western mind. Interesting, but look. Try out some of those sentences. Right, let's just do one more very quick thing. This is a slight, as I usually do, a slight preview to next week's lesson. And as I said in the intro, in the comments for this video, we're going to now have a look at how to give want within a verb. For example, I want to drink, I want to eat, I want to go. And we still have the verb stems. We still have the verb stems, but the ending changes now, not from mass, and this is what we call the tie form. Let me put a dash because that's where it's going to go. So separate the board. Getting quite long, so let me move this down a bit. Hope you can just see that. Tie means, and jot these down and write them down as we're doing it. Tie means want to do. This applies just to verbs. Iki tai. We're not doing mass anymore. We're not saying will go, we're saying want to go. Ikitai. If you didn't want to go, it would be ikitaku nai. Want to and don't want to. Present case, okay? Takatta. Takatta. Remember your small pause there. Ikitakatta. Ikitakatta. Did want to. I wanted to go. Ikitakatta. Ikitaku nakatta. Ikitaku nakatta. Ikitaku nakatta. Taku nakatta. Small pause with the double T there. Go. Yomi, to read. Yomi, mas, in the mas form. Tabemasu, to eat. Let's go through those. Ikitai. Yomi, tai. Tabe, tai. I want to go. I want to read and I want to eat. What about I wanted to? This one here. Takatta. Yomi takatta. Yomi takatta. Tabe takatta. Tabe takatta. Okay? And then the negative, which is the hardest word probably we've got so far. Tabitaku nakatta. Tabitaku nakatta. Nice rhythm to it. Yomitaku nakatta. Ikitaku nakatta. Depends on where you come from in Japan as well. Lots of different ways of saying things. Just make yourself understood. That's all you have to do. There you go. That's the Thai form of the verbs. Put the verb stem ahead of it, and then you have an absolute winner. So try all of those sentences, draw them in, and see how you get along. As I always say, you can, and I've got very black hands, you can give me comments in the sentences, in the comments. Give me sentences in the comments, rather, and I'll reply if I see them. I do check through the comments on the Facebook and YouTube pages. All the best. I'd like to see how you get on. Give me your emails if you would like any private lessons also. And thank you for attending, and I'll see you next week. Thank you very much, everyone.